Good morning, everyone. Welcome to lesson 4.1.6. Today, we are going to be working on graphing a line without a table. We're going to talk about the quick, straightforward way of how we can graph a line. Now, every single line is identified by two characteristics. Where does the line begin, and how does the line grow? Two characteristics create its name. So what we're going to do here in our first problem, I want you to notice what you have is a table. The table says A, B, C, D, E, F, and then it has a column for the beginning value. The beginning value is the first characteristic. That's where we begin. I want you to notice I wrote B equals for each of those because I'm going to have to identify where does each line begin. The second characteristic that I'm looking for is how does it grow. Now, in an equation, y equals mx plus b, b is the beginning value, and m is the growth. Remember, when I was a kid, we didn't use beginning value and growth. I was taught that m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Just rolls off your tongue, right? So y equals mx plus b, where m is the growth and b is the beginning value. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these graphs and we are going to learn to read them. Okay, that's what we do here. We learn how to read math, write math, do math, explain math. So here we go. I'm looking at problem letter A, and I'm looking at this graph. Now, when I was taught beginning value, it was called the Y-intercept. Because, see, the y-axis here is going up and down. And what we've talked about is the y-axis is 0. All numbers always begin at 0. 0 is the center. The y-axis is going to tell me my beginning value. So I have the y-axis here, and I go, here's my line, here's my y-axis. Where do those two things cross? Oh, they cross at this point at 2. So I would write the number 2 because the beginning value is 2. The y-intercept is 2. Okay? You can see it right here. Now the second characteristic of this line is going to be its growth. And so I'm going to go ahead and look at this, and it's always, remember when we're talking about tiles, how many tiles are going from figure to figure? Well, I noticed that this problem grows by 2 tiles over 1 figure. That's why it has this 2 and this 1. 2 tiles in 1 figure. 2 tiles in 1 figure. So I would write my growth as 2 over 1. 2 tiles in 1 figure. It's always a comparison. Sometimes we just write one number, but that's because we can just say, oh, it grew by 5. But we know that it grew by 5 in 1 figure. So we always have to remember that's there. So when I write my rule, y equals mx plus b. Notice I've started by writing y equals blank x plus, and I go ahead and record y equals 2 over 1x. That's my growth. And my beginning value is 2. For the last couple of days, we have been color coding our diagrams, our representations, to show that they are connected. This orange 2 is this orange 2 is this orange 2. This blue 2 is this blue 2 is that blue 2. They are all connected. Okay? Now let's go ahead and look at my next graph. Can you predict what the beginning value is? See, this is where you have to work on predicting what is going to happen. Where does this line begin? Find the y-axis. Where does the line cross that y-axis? write that number down. The number that you should have written down is this number, the number 3. Okay, now you have to look at the problem and decide, how is it growing? Well, let's go ahead and I see 2 dots. I'm going to grow by 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2 figures. Up 4 tiles over 2 figures. This isn't in simplest form. This fraction has to be simplified. I don't write the growth is 4 over 2. No, I simplify that down to 2 over 1. So I write my rule. Y equals, which one comes first? That's right. The growth comes first. 2 over 1. And the beginning value is, that's right, it's 3. You need to be predicting what I'm about to say. That is the key to engaging in learning. If you're just sitting there letting this video roll, what's the point? You need to be actively thinking about what's about to happen. Next problem. Okay? I want you to look at this problem, write down what you think the beginning value is, what you think the growth is, and what you think the rule is. Pause the video and decide those numbers. Now, if you don't know how to do letter C, you need to go back and watch me do letter A and B again. You have to know how to do this. Go back, figure out A and B right now. Okay, welcome back. Do you know what to do now? You need to look at the graph and you need to be able to say, oh, the beginning value is 5. The growth in this problem, it goes up 8 tiles and over 1 figure, 8 over 1. So the growth is 8x plus 5. These numbers are all right in front of you. You just have to know which is which. The beginning value is always on the y-axis, not the x-axis. And the growth is always shown as a change. The growth is always between the points. Not on a point, between the points. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to look at D, E, F, and you are going to complete the chart. If you don't know how to do D, E, F, you need to go back and watch A, B, C again. Pause the video now. Okay, you have completed D, E, F. I am not showing those answers. And the next problem is being able to graph lines with just the name of the line given. We're not going to make a table. And I want you to notice you have some blank graph paper. So what you need to be able to do is get a straight line maker, a ruler, and you need to be able to draw a line down the center. Here, let's make this line color so that we can see it. Okay. Now notice this is on the grid line. It's not in the middle of the grid line. It's on the grid line. And once you have that, some of you might even think ahead and you're going to be like, where does my x-axis need to go? Does it need to go down low? Because I'm going to have a beginning value of a high number. Like if your beginning value is 12, you need 12 spaces to fit that in. If your beginning value is 2, well then maybe you don't need it up so high. You need to think about where do you put this axis so that you have room to graph. If you know that your beginning value is going to be here, then it can be in the middle. But if you notice your beginning value is going to be 9, well then you need to make sure that you have enough room to make that happen. Don't draw your x-axis until you know your beginning value. So I want you to notice that I have 4 graphs. I would say letter C you should put down here. All the other ones you can kind of put in the middle. Now I want you to notice I wrote down these problems and I also color-coded them. Okay? Now this is if you looked in your textbook, you would find these 4 problems. Couple helpful hints as you do this. I want you to notice the beginning value is there in orange. The beginning value is, I'm going to scoot this down just a little bit more. I know that the beginning value of 3 tells me to go up 3 because the y-axis, here's 0, 0, and I go up 1, up 2, up 3, and put a dot. I don't want these loops, so I'm just going to put my point right there. Okay? That's the beginning value. Beginning value. You don't need to label it, but I'm telling you where it is. Okay? Once I have done the beginning value, I can do the growth. My growth is up 4 tiles. Notice I said up because it's a positive. And over 1. How do I know it's over 1? Because that tells me 4 tiles up over 1 figure. It's us being lazy. Now, from here, I am going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1 tile. Now, let's go ahead and make that a little bit clearer. Right here. Now, if I wanted to go in the opposite direction, I could, because my growth is up 4 over 1. But ultimately, I need to be able to draw a line. Okay? Now, let's look at our other problems. You're going to do B, C, and D. I want you to notice letter B is missing its beginning value. What does it say right here? Plus what number? Mr. McCoy, I don't see a number. It's nothing. Nothing is there. What number is nothing? Oh, yeah, plus 0. You lazy mathematicians. Okay, notice we've got y equals negative 3x. I'm going to add this on the growth. Please know that this negative tells you to go down. Notice that when you put this positive 1 underneath it, that tells you to go to the right. Just like this, when you put the positive 1 underneath, you went to the right. This told you up. That one told you to the right. Okay? Letter D, we have our beginning value, but I noticed my growth is missing there on letter D. Oh, I need to remember how many x's are right there. There's only 1 x. If there's 1 x over 1, 1 tile up, 1 tile right. In addition to solving this problem, you are going to need to draw on an axis, just one axis at the bottom, and you're going to add letter A, pause the video for the beginning value and the growth, and then you need to add B and C to that same graph. Time for me to teach chess, so I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.